put something down for your knees. When we're on hands and knees, we will be on hands and knees for a little bit. So feel free to grab a blanket. And if you practice with blocks, you can always have that handy as well. We are going to be starting on our backs. So we'll start with our tush in the middle of the mat. Feet flat on the ground, rolling onto our backs. And I want you to walk your feet as close to your tush as possible. So we have a pretty deep bend in the knees. And then I want you to think about the pressure of your foot into the ground. So you want equal pressure on your big toe knuckle, your pinky toe knuckle, and your heel. Next, we're gonna work our way up to check in with our knees. If you're in that tripod foot, your knees should be pointing towards the ceiling. I want them to be in this parallel position through the beginning of our class. Next, we'll work our way up to the pelvis. So just take note of what feels neutral or normal in your pelvis in this position. We're gonna keep our hands on the 2 front hip bones as we start our practice because we're moving from 2 legs to 1 pretty quickly. So I want you to be mindful of what's happening in your pelvis. Whether we're on 2 legs or 1, the pelvis should be pointing up towards the ceiling, not dropping one way or the other. And I'll have you check in on that as we move. So before we get started, go ahead and just close your eyes for a moment. Take a big inhale into the lower ribs, back of the body and the belly. And exhale. One more time, big inhale. And exhale. Now gently draw your belly button in towards your spine. Press through the tripod of your foot and lift your pelvis about 4 or 5 inches up towards the ceiling in a bridge pose. In this position, you should feel your glutes activate. You should feel your back quiet because we're not elevating too high. I want the focus to be on the glutes as we start to warm it up and your core. Now, leading with your tush, start to bring your hips down towards the ground, lowering from our bridge pose. And then reset, draw the abs and press through the feet. Lift up 4 or 5 inches up off the ground. Take a full breath at the top. And then again, hinge at the hips coming back down. Again, press through the tripod foot, lift your pelvis up. Full inhalation and exhalation. And release. Last time, press through the feet, lift the pelvis up. Full inhalation and exhalation. And let's stay here for a moment, drawing your abdominal muscles in once more, paying mind to your index finger and middle finger on your hip bones. Start to float your left knee up towards your chest without dropping that left hip down. So if you start to feel a little dip, try to pull the right hip down in space so that the pelvis stays facing the ceiling. And then exhale, tap your left foot back down. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. You should feel that burn in your right glute. Exhale to lower. We'll do it twice more. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Last one. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Now go ahead and allow your hips to drop down towards the ground. Bring your knees up and into your chest, giving them a hug. And just rock from side to side, letting that right glute release a bit. Take a nice big inhale and exhale. And then let's replace our feet down on the ground, remembering to keep the feet close to the tush. Reground into your tripod foot. Fingers back to the pelvis. Abdominal muscles draw in with your knees pointing towards the ceiling. Press into the feet and lift up once more into that bridge posture. Check in on that belly and maybe draw in just a little bit deeper, belly button towards the spine. Now start to get heavy on your left leg without allowing the pelvis to drop. Start to float your right knee towards your chest, keeping your knee bent on an inhale. And then exhale, tap your right foot down. Inhale to lift, keep that left glute engaged. Exhale, tap down. Hug the left hip down towards the ground as you lift your right leg up and tap down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Last time, inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. And go ahead and release back down to the ground. Once more, hug your knees up and into your chest. Give your left glute a little stretch here. One full breath. And let's roll on your right side. So as we move on to the right side, I want your elbow to be stacked right underneath your shoulder, palm surface of your hand down to the ground. You'll find your hips are going to be stacked. So if the left hip has a tendency to roll back, just use your left hand to roll it so that it's completely stacked and allow your knees to be stacked. Now we're going to do a clamshell variation in a few ways. Before we even think about lifting our leg, I want you to focus on what's happening in the shoulder. In order to protect the shoulder, we have to press down into the right hand to lift your body up in space away from the ground. That's going to activate the shoulder stabilizers. We need them active the whole time. If this ever becomes too much, you can go ahead and just relax down on your side and do a clamshell completely on the ground. But I'll give you two other variations if this feels okay for you. So you can either take the variation where as we inhale, you'll lift just one leg up and then exhale to lower. Otherwise, if you want a little bit more of a challenge, as you inhale, you'll lift your hips up into a side plank as your left leg lifts, and then exhale to lower down. We'll be doing 5 of these. Inhale to lift, clamshell up, exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. We'll do 3 more at your own pace. I love this because it activates the outside of the right hip, it activates the outside of the left hip, and you're working your core. It's like a triple threat, and your shoulder, quadruple threat. After the last one, again, if you want to challenge, you're going to stay up here in your side plank. Otherwise, you can drop your hips down. We'll start to inhale your left arm up towards the ceiling. And then on your exhale, start to weave your left hand between your right elbow and right hip, rotating from your upper back, reaching the left hand towards the right side of the mat. Inhale, release, open up. And exhale, thread the hand. Inhale, open. Exhale, thread. Inhale, open. And exhale, thread. Okay. Now go ahead and release your hips down if you haven't done so already. We'll lie completely on our side, rotate onto our back, and then move over onto our left side. So again, take the variation that feels good for you and your body. I want the left palm down, left shoulder stacked underneath, the left elbow under your right shoulder. Rock your right hip forward so that your hips are stacked, knees are stacked. And then we'll do our clamshell variation on this side. So again, pressing through the arm to set the shoulder blade stabilizers. On your inhale, lift up, open up into your clamshell, exhale down. Inhale to lift, and exhale down. 3 more. Inhale, and exhale. 2 more. Last one. And then remember, either drop the hips down or stay in your side plank and just release the top leg. Inhale your right arm up to the ceiling, and then exhale, leading from the chest. Rotate your upper back as you weave your right hand between your left elbow and hip. And then inhale to open up. And exhale, weave. Inhale, open. Exhale, weave. Last one. Inhale to open. And exhale, weave. Okay, go ahead and release that rotation. Release your hips down. Roll onto your back once more. Bring your knees up and into your chest. And let's start to rock forward and back now. Once you get the momentum, we'll pause for a moment on the pelvis for a supported boat pose. Think about spreading the collarbones, lifting the chest. And you can keep a hold of your legs with your arms, or if you want the challenge, you can feel free to release. And now go ahead and hold onto the legs if you've released. Crisscross your shins. And then start to bring your body over your shins, meeting me on hands and knees in the middle of your mat. And you can go ahead and grab that blanket. This is where we'll be on our knees for a little bit. So with hands directly under shoulders, knees directly under hips, go ahead and release your toes out so that your toes are pointing towards the top or bottom of the mat, depending on which way you're turned. And on an inhale, start to drop your belly down to the ground, tailbone lifts up, head lifts up, coming into cow spine. Exhale into cat. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. 3 more on your own pace. And when you're ready, return back into tabletop position. And now we're going to do a side bend, since we're going to do a bit of rotation in class today. So we're going to do an inhale, and we'll wag our hips towards the right. So think about your tailbone starting to reach towards the right back corner of your mat as your head goes to the right front corner of your mat, and you create a C curve onto the right side. And then in the exhale, just reverse that. The tailbone reaches towards the back left corner of the mat, head reaches towards the front left corner. Inhale to the right, wag it to the right, and exhale to the left, wag it to the left. Inhale right, and exhale left. Inhale right, exhale left. One more time, inhale right, and exhale left. All right, coming back to the middle, let's start to shift our body back to Virasana for a moment. Hands to the thighs, toes pointing back. Try to think about stacking your head over your lampshade of your ribs, over the bowl of your pelvis. And then draw the abs in, and on an inhale, start to press through the shins as you lift your body up into a high kneel position. Now again, redrawing the abdominal muscles in. Shift your weight onto the left leg and step your right foot forward so that your ankle, knee, and hip are all at a 90-degree angle. Now, if balance is a bit of a challenge, you can always heel toe your foot out to the side. We're all gonna get there eventually, but if you want the challenge of the balance, you can keep your stance a little bit more narrow. Otherwise, you can go ahead and widen it. Bring your left hand to the outside of your right knee, right hand to the small of your back. On an inhale, find length in your spine. And then on the exhale, gently twist to the right, thinking about staying on that spinal staircase. Go ahead and release that. And now tuck your back toes for me. On an inhale, bring your arms into goalposts or cactus arms and start to shift your body forward, coming into a baby cow spine. So you'll feel your knee come over your ankle. Make sure that it's staying directly over the second toe so that you're getting a little stretch maybe in the back of the calf or the front of the ankle. And then you should feel a stretch in your pecs. If this is too much on the arms, you can always just extend them down and out. So do what feels good for you. And then on your exhale, I want you to round into a cat spine, shifting your hips back towards the left foot and heel, bringing your right toes up, flexing forward into a runner's lunge. Inhale, walk your body forward, knee comes over the ankle, hands come into cactus. Give me that baby cow spine. And then exhale, round into cat as you shift your pelvis back in your runner's lunge. Once more, inhale, come forward, cow spine, cactus arms. And then exhale, cat spine, runner's lunge. This time, keep your hands down on the ground and let's shift our weight forward on the inhale, just stacking the knee over the ankle. And then heel toe your foot out to the side if you haven't already done so. So we're in more of a wider stance. Hands come to the ground, press through the left toes and lift your hips up and back into this wide-legged pyramid. While we're here, take notice of what's happening in your pelvis. If you started to shift your hips open to the left, pull the right hip back in space. Ground through the tripod of your right foot as you have equal pressure on the big toe and pinky toe knuckle of the left, allowing gravity to pull that left heel down, allowing the right knee to extend any amount that feels good on your body. Release your head down. Now start to walk your hands forward and step your left leg to meet your right leg, coming into a wide-legged forward fold here. So your feet should be about the distance of your mat. And then grab opposite elbows, allowing your gaze to go between your legs, finding the midpoint where your body weight's between the front of your foot and the back of your foot. Usually you have to shift slightly forward for that. Soften your knees. Release the bind of your elbows and start to roll up vertebrae by vertebrae on your inhale, landing in Tadasana on your exhale. Softly bend your knees. On your next inhale, cactus your arms and give me that baby cow spine. And then on the exhale, hands come to thighs, round your spine, coming into a standing cat pose. Release your shoulders down, release your head down. Start to circle your hands down towards the ground. And then on an inhale, reach your arms up, coming into Urdhva Hastasana with wide leg. And then exhale with a flat back, forward fold. On an inhale, hands to thighs, flat back. I want your knees soft, your tailbone reaching back towards the back of the mat as your chest reaches forward. And then exhale, step your left leg back and then your right, coming into a downward facing dog. Softly bend your knees, lift your hips up and back. And on an inhale, roll forward through cat spine for a moment, landing in plank. And then exhale, lower onto your knees and release your toes. Draw your abdominal muscles in, plug the balls into the socket of your shoulders. And on your next exhale, lower all the way down onto your belly, so slowly, keeping the collarbone spread. Slide your hands about 4 inches forward. On an inhale, baby cobra for me for your back bend this time. And then on your exhale, slide your hands back and shift your body back into child's pose. We'll be here for 2 breaths. Slowly walk your hands towards your knees. So the palms of your hands are just in front of the knees. Draw your abdominal muscles in, press through your hands and lift up, coming into Virasana once more. We'll stack our spine again, head over lampshade of the rib cage, over bowl of your pelvis. With the abdominal muscles engaged, press through the shins, lifting up into high kneel. And then go ahead and step your left leg forward, again, finding that narrow stance first or going into that wider stance. Palm of the right hand goes outside of your left knee. Palm of the left hand goes to support the small of your back. Maintain that straight spine position on an inhale to find length. And then exhale, gently twist to the left. Maintain your spiral staircase with every inhale as you get longer, and then with every exhale as you rotate. Go ahead and release that. And now tuck your back toes. On an inhale, cactus arms, shift your knee over your second toe, finding a cat spine. And then exhale, shift your pelvis over your right foot. Left toes come up, coming into your runner's lunge. Inhale, shift forward, cactus arms, cow spine. Exhale, runner's lunge. Inhale, cactus arms. And exhale, runner's lunge. This time, hands stay on the ground. Inhale to shift your body forward. And then exhale, heel toe your left foot out to the side if you haven't already done so for our wider stance. Palms come to the ground. Back toes stay tucked. On an inhale, lift your pelvis up and back, coming into pyramid on the left side. Again, here, paying mind of what's happening in the pelvis, making sure that the pelvis hasn't opened to the left or the right, but rather staying forward. Trying to drive your right heel down to the ground, maintaining a tripod in your left foot, extending your left knee any amount. And now just walk your hands forward, step your right leg to meet your left, coming into our wider leg forward fold. Grab the awkward grip of opposite elbows, allowing your upper body to traction your thoracic spine and your lumbar spine. Finding the midpoint of your foot to keep your body weight centered. Gaze goes between your legs. And then go ahead and release your elbows. Gently soften your knees on your next inhale. Roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Exhale, land into Tadasana. Gently soften your knees on an inhale, cactus arms, gentle cow spine. Exhale, round into cat with hands supported on your thighs. On your inhale, windmill your arms down and then raise them up towards the ceiling for Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale for a flat back, Uttanasana forward fold. Hands to thighs, inhale, halfway lift with the tailbone reaching back, chest reaching forward. And then exhale, hands down, step your right leg, then your left leg back, coming into a downward facing dog. Gently bend your knees and lift your hips up and back to get more length in your spine. And then straighten your knees any amount. On your inhale, roll forward through cat spine, coming into a plank. Exhale, lower onto your knees and release your toes. Inhale, plug the balls in the socket, spread the collarbones, engage the abs. Exhale, lower all the way down onto your belly. Once more, slide your hands forward. Inhale for the baby cobra, keeping your gaze down. And then exhale, slide your hands back, coming into a child's pose for 2 breaths. Slide your hands in front of your knees, press through your hands and lift your body up, coming into Virasana. Go ahead and press through the shins to lift up into high kneel. On an inhale, step your right leg forward. Exhale, pause. Inhale, shift your body forward into cow spine, cactus arms. Exhale, runner's lunge. Inhale, cow spine, tuck your back toes. Exhale, runner's lunge. Inhale, cow spine. Exhale, runner's lunge. Inhale, shift forward, right foot to the right side. Exhale, lift up and back, pyramid. Inhale, step your left leg forward to meet your right, wide leg forward fold. Exhale, release. Draw your abs in. Inhale, roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, cactus arms, cow spine. Exhale into cat spine, hands to thighs. Inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, hands to thighs, halfway lift. Exhale, step your left leg, then your right leg, coming into downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward into plank. Exhale, lower to knees, release the toes. Inhale, engage the abs, plus plug the ball in the socket. Exhale, lower all the way down to your belly. Inhale, take the back bend of your choosing. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, roll up to Virasana. Exhale, pause. Inhale, come to high kneel. Exhale, stack your spine. Inhale, step your left leg forward. Exhale, stay. Tuck your back toes. Inhale, cow spine. Hands to cactus. Exhale, runner's lunge. Inhale to cow. Exhale, runner's lunge. Inhale to cow. Exhale, runner's lunge. Inhale, shift your weight forward. Heel toe your left foot towards the left. Exhale, lift the hips up and back, pyramid. Inhale, step your right leg to meet your left. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, knees stay soft as you roll up. Exhale, Tadasana. Inhale, cow spine, cactus arms. Exhale, cat spine, hands to thighs. Inhale, raise your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, flat back for Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to thighs. Exhale, step your right leg back, then your left, coming into downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward into plank through cat spine. Exhale, lower onto the knees, release the toes. Inhale, plug ball and socket, abs in. Exhale, lower all the way down. Slide your hands forward, back bend if you're choosing. Exhale through child pose, we're coming into downward facing dog. And we'll pause here for 2 breaths. And when you're ready, start to walk your feet forward so that your feet land just behind your hands. And let's meet in a forward fold. Again, once more, check in on where the weight is in your foot. And then gently soften the knees, roll up, and we'll meet in Tadasana. So as we move on to our next vinyasa, let's go ahead and make sure that our feet are about hip distance apart. So it should be aligned with the front hip bone. Let's try to maintain that tripod foot once more. With your knees soft, on an inhale, lift your arms up into Urdhva Hastasana, rounding down into the feet as the middle fingers reach up towards the ceiling. And then on the exhale, come into Utkatasana or chair pose, bringing your hands to your heart center. While we're here, I want you to envision taking your feet and trying to split the mat in half by pulling your feet in opposite directions. So they're pulled towards the outside of the mat. You should feel an activation at the side of your hip. And that's to allow our glute med to activate so that the knees stay stacked over your feet. As you press through your feet on an inhale, straighten your knees, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Once more, press through the feet. Inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Utkatasana. Try to snap that mat in half. Straighten the legs. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale, we'll stay in prayer for Utkatasana. Now, in this position, gently start to spin to the right. Think about leading with your breastbone. So you're rotating to the right as much as you can with the breastbone staying on that one axis of rotation, thinking about that spiral staircase. And then I want you to hook your left elbow outside of your right knee. We're in a rotated Utkatasana. Now try to get as heavy on the right leg as possible and gently step your left leg back any amount that you can, coming into that rotated lunge position. And we'll take one more breath here, pulling that right hip back, making sure your knee is stacked over your ankle on your right side. And on your inhale, unravel, coming into a high lunge for a moment. And on your exhale, spin your left heel down to the ground, perpendicular with your front foot, opening up to the left in warrior 2. And you can use this time to adjust. If you took a shorter step, that's fine. You can widen your stance coming into your warrior 2. So you have a tripod foot on the front foot. You're pressing onto the outer border on your left, right knee, checking in, making sure it's stacked over your ankle, arms out to the side. On your inhale, flip your front palm to face the ceiling and start to bring your left hand down the left thigh, reaching your right arm up and over to reverse your warrior. See if you can get a little bit more breath and space into the right side body here. And then on your exhale, bring your right elbow to your thigh as your left arm reaches up and over towards the front of the mat, beyond your mat here. Now think about your right shoulder for a moment. Think about what we did when we were on our elbow at the beginning of class in that side plank or clamshell. I want you to think about pressing into the elbow to lift your shoulder up and out so that we're still protecting the shoulder at all times. Even if we're not fully weight bearing, there is some weight bearing here, so you want to be mindful of that. And now engaging the abs, we're going to take our right arm to parallel our left arm, reaching towards and beyond the front of the mat. Lift up onto the toes of your left foot and start to spin your left toes to point towards the front. And now we're in a pretty wide lunge. You should have one straight line from fingertips to shoulders, to tailbone, to back leg. Now take a little mini hop in with your left leg to shorten your stance. Pull your right hip back if your hips start to open to the left. Bring your hands into prayer. And then start to shift your weight forward onto the right leg, maintaining your pelvis facing the front, and then eventually to the floor as we come into a warrior three. If you want to bring your hands to the hips to feel where they are in space, that's good biofeedback. Right now, my left hip's a little higher, so I'm going to drop that left hip, and I want to pull my right hip back in space. The two ways we tend to cheat is either open the pelvis or shift to the right. So you want to think about your right rib cage lifting away from your right hip. So right hip pulls to the back of the mat, right rib pulls to the front of the mat. And you should feel your tush on fire. Now very slowly bring your hands back to prayer and then try to reach your left leg as far back as you can, landing gently in a high lunge position with hands at prayer. Once you're settled there, bring your hands to frame your front foot, ground into the left hand and start to peel your right arm out to the side and then up to the ceiling for a twist. If your chin starts to travel away from your neck, gently drop your chin down again. And as you rotate, think about that spiral staircase, but also think about rotating always from the chest and not necessarily from the arm. The arm's just moving because the upper back is rotating. Now we're gonna take a side plank. I'm gonna show the variation on your knee, but if you wanna take it on your foot, now I just want you to ground into the outer border of your left foot, and then you'll stack your right foot on top. I'm gonna show the knee variation. So my left knee is gonna come down to the ground. I'm gonna spin my left foot out just off of my mat, and then I'll sweep my right leg to stack over my left. And we're here in side plank for a few breaths. Same thought process with my left shoulder. You're pressing into your hand to lift your left shoulder up, lifting your body off of the shoulder to activate the stabilizers. Take one more breath. And now bring your right hand down to the ground, spin to face the mat. Come onto your knees if you need to, or stay on your toes and plank for a moment. We're gonna plug the ball back into the socket. And then again, gently lower your body all the way down onto the ground. We're gonna pause here for a moment. Draw your abdominal muscles in and just hover your hands off the ground by plugging the ball in the socket and gently spreading the collarbones, allowing the shoulder blades to glide towards one another. And then replace your hands, but maintain that activation in the back of your body. Abdominal muscles engage and gently lift up into your plank variation, either on your knees or on your feet. On your next exhale, slowly lower, bending your elbows, spreading the collarbones all the way down onto the belly. Again, plug the ball in the socket, slide the shoulder blades together, hover your hands off the ground for a moment. And then lower your hands down. Keep the activation in the back body. Abs in, press up once more, coming into plank. And then lower all the way down. This time, go ahead and take your back bend variation, cobra, up dog, whatever you prefer. And then let's press up and back into downward facing dog. Start to walk your feet forward. Again, allowing your feet to stop just behind where your hands are, coming into a forward fold, releasing your head, recentering your body. Abdominal muscles engaged, knees are soft, and gently roll up vertebrae to vertebrae, meeting in Tadasana. Once you're in Tadasana, find that midpoint where your feet are hip distance apart if you weren't there. Inhale, reach your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to prayer, Utkatasana. Split the mat in half. Inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Press through your feet. Inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Last one. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Utkatasana. And we'll pause here for a moment. On our inhale, from our chest, we're rotating our thoracic spine, thinking about the spiral staircase, not side bending as we rotate, making sure that just our upper body's doing the rotation and our knees are staying put. And then when you're ready, hook your right elbow outside of your left knee if you have the mobility to do so. Make sure to pull the right hip bone back in space if it started to cheat to help you out, especially if one side's a little tighter than the other. And then get heavy on your left leg, light on your right. Gently step your right leg back, coming into a rotated lunge. Recheck where your knee is, make sure it's stacked over your ankle. Think about pulling your right heel back in space as your left tush pulls back as well, activating the glute. On your inhale, unravel, coming into high lunge. And then on your exhale, spin your back heel down perpendicular to your front foot, coming into warrior two, making any adjustment that you need so that the left heel is at the midpoint of your right instep. Make sure your knee is stacked over your ankle. And take a full big breath in your warrior two. Flip your left palm up to face the ceiling. Right hand comes to right thigh. On an inhale, lift up and back. Coming into your reverse warrior, making sure not to collapse into the right side body, but rather thinking about lifting up and over to create that C curve. See if you can get a little bit more breath into the left side body. And on your next exhale, start to spin your arms forward, coming into side angle with left elbow to left thigh. Right arm swings up and forward beyond the front of your mat. Think about pressing down into the elbow to lift your shoulder away from your body, making sure your chin stays close to your neck. On your inhale, find more length by reaching your right arm out in space. And then on your exhale, gently twist from the breastbone, turning maybe slightly more to the right, and eventually up. Now drawing your abdominal muscles in here, allow your left arm to parallel your right arm for a moment while you're facing the right, and then lift onto the left toes with your right heel. Your right toes with your right heel lifting up. And then spin your right foot to parallel your left, coming into a wide lunge position. Take a little mini hop with your right leg to shorten your stance. Bring your hands to prayer. Start to shift your chest forward in space, pulling your left hip bone back, making sure the pelvis stays facing down as you come into warrior three on your left side. Keeping your knees slightly soft. Try to let your toes relax. If they started to grip or activate. Pull your right hip bone down in space. Maybe lengthen the left hip away from the left rib cage if your ribs started to travel towards the left side. And you can even do that manually with your hand. Pull your right heel back in space, eventually gently, softly landing into that high lunge. Let your hands frame your front foot, Ground into the right hand as you start to inhale, lifting your left arm out to the side and up to the ceiling for a twist. Again, paying mind of where your chin is in space, maybe gently dropping it if it started to travel away from your neck. Make sure that your hand isn't leading the movement, but rather the chest, and you're staying on your spiral staircase. Now lower onto your back knee if you chose that variation. Spin your right foot outside of the mat, or spin onto the outer border of your right foot, and then swing your left leg back, stacking your left leg on your right, any variation. You can also bring your left foot in front of your right if you're taking it off your knees. Maintaining side plank by pressing into the ground to lift your shoulder away from the ground and up towards the ceiling. Let's stay for one more breath. And then go ahead and bring your left hand down to the ground, spin your body to face the mat, coming onto your knees or staying onto your toes, plugging the ball in the socket, abdominal muscles engaged, bending at your elbows to gently lower your body towards the ground. And release here. Relax the toes if they were tucked. Plug the ball in the socket, slide the shoulder blades towards one another, hover your hands. And then again, replace the hands by your nipple line. Tuck your toes if you're coming straight up onto your toes in plank, or you can come to your knees. And on your next inhale, push your body away from the ground in one motion, coming into plank variation. And then again, once more, slowly lower back all the way down to the ground. Release your toes if they were tucked. Plug the ball in the socket. Slide the shoulder blades together. Hover your hands for that check. And then maintaining the activation once more, press your body away from the ground, lifting up. Taking a pause. And then slowly lower all the way back down. Now once more, take the back bend of your choice. And then on your exhale, come back into child's pose. Breathe into the back of your body. Send your breath to your kidneys, to the back ribs. Soften the muscles underneath your armpit. Maybe soften the muscles between the shoulder blades. And then walk your hands towards your body. As you lift up into Virasana for a moment, shift your hips to the left, swing your feet around to the right, come to the middle of your mat in a sitting position. And let's widen our legs. So spread your legs apart as wide as what feels comfortable while still maintaining that stacked head over rib cage over pelvis. So think about allowing those two sit bones to really activate. Think about that active lift towards the ceiling. And then with your toes pointing up towards the ceiling, start to walk your hands forward without allowing your toes to join. So the toes will stay pointing towards the ceiling. And you'll forward fold any amount that feels good for your body right now. If you have a blanket, you can feel free to utilize it to prop your pelvis up if you want to take that option. Try to push your heels away from your body, activating the front thigh muscles. Seeing if you can get a little bit more length in the back of the thigh by allowing your knee to be slightly straighter. And then go ahead and walk your hands back towards your body, finding that upright position. Bring your legs together. So we're in staff pose for a moment. And then bend your right knee. You can use your arms to help you do that. And then take your right foot over the left leg. So your right foot lands just outside of the left knee. Your right hands are gonna tent. Your fingertips will tent behind your body. And then the left arm is reaching up to the ceiling. And then allow the left elbow to reach just outside of the right knee, maintaining a straight spine. Again, utilizing a blanket if you like, or a block. Lengthen in the vertical position. And then on your exhale, rotate. Again, thinking about rotating from the breastbone and then allowing the shoulder to rotate as a result of that, with your head last. So we want to try to really limit any driving happening from our cervical spine. Now go ahead and release that. And we're gonna switch sides. So use your arms to manually uncross that right leg, extend your right leg straight. You can shift your butt left to right. Make sure that you have equal weight on those sits bones again. And then you're gonna bend your left knee, first bringing your left foot down to the ground, and then you're gonna lift it up and over so the left foot hits just outside of the right knee. Again, check in with the sit bones, make sure they're even. Tent your left hands behind your body to find a little more of that vertical placement. Then right arm reaches up to the ceiling, hooking your right elbow outside of your left knee. And then again, inhaling to find more vertical displacement. And then on the exhale, twist from the breastbone, not from the shoulder, not from the head. Let's go ahead and release that. Uncross your legs. Bring your hips to the midpoint of your mat if you're not already there. Bend both knees. And then once more, we're gonna find boat pose for a moment. Again, take the variation that feels good for you. So I'm gonna have you bring your shins into the horizontal position, balancing on the tailbone, abdominal muscles engage. Lengthen your spine. Chin stays close to your body. And then either hold here supported or go ahead and release. If you release, go ahead and grab a hold in the back of your thigh once more, and then tap your right foot, then your left foot down. Round in your spine, so we find that cat spine once more, and then vertebrae by vertebrae, roll all the way down so that your upper body releases to the mat. Interlace your fingers and then place them behind your head, right between the nape of your neck and the base of your skull. So the base of your skull should be resting on your fingers, but your thumbs are released and they should be kind of grazing the side of your neck right now. I want you, with your knees staying bent, to gently take the interlace of your fingers and pull it towards the top of your mat or the bottom of your mat. You're pulling it away from your head. And you want to allow your chin to gently tuck as you lengthen your cervical spine. And then you can gently massage the sides of your neck with your thumbs. It's very, very gentle since we have a lot of small structures there. Then you can even take the thumbs to the base of your skull and give yourself a little massage there. We have a lot of little muscles that attach there. And then I want you to just slide your fingers out from underneath your head, but maintain that long neck position. So your chin should stay down towards your neck. And there should be as much space as possible between the base of your head and the base of your neck as possible here. Now, cross your left ankle just above your right knee in a figure 4. And then if you'd like, go ahead and interlace your fingers behind your right thigh, bringing your figure 4 towards your chest. Go ahead and release your right leg, placing your right foot down on the ground. Let's cactus our arms once more in this position and slowly allow your left foot to drop to the right side of the mat, coming in a gentle spinal twist here. So the palm surface of your foot stays connected to the ground. Your chest stays facing the ceiling. And maybe you're taking a little bit of breath into the left glute here and into the left side body. After your last exhale, go ahead and stack your shoulders facing the right. So your right hand is going to make a pillow for your head. You're facing the right side. And then I want you to stack your left foot on top of your right. So you're going to unravel that figure 4. In this position, draw your abdominal muscles in and then grab a hold of your left ankle with your left hand. You might have to lift your leg to do that. If you did though, just drop it back down so that your left leg is parallel with your right, not elevated. And then with your long spine and engaged abdominals, start to pull the left ankle back in space without arching the back. So we want to maintain a neutral to even slightly cat spine, not moving into cow as we try to lengthen the quad muscle and the hip flexor. And go ahead and release that stretch. Let's roll onto the back once more. Take the awkward interlace of your hands, once more placing them behind your head, pulling gently at the base of your head to allow your chin to drop to maintain length in your neck, and then releasing your hands from behind your head, cross your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Interlace your fingers behind your left thigh for a stretch into the right hip. And when I reached, I just lost my long neck position. So if that happened to you, just take note of it and see if you can manually let your chin drop to allow the back of your head to move away from your neck. Go ahead and release your bind. Bring your left foot down towards the ground. And then cactus your arms once again and start to drop your right foot towards the left side, just outside of the mat for a gentle spinal twist. Again here, trying to send breath into the right glute, right side body. That's more available in this twist. Now roll onto your left side, allowing your left hand to be a pillow, stacking your right knee on top of your left, drawing your abs in, lengthening your tailbone away from your low back. And then grab a hold of your right ankle with your right hand, drop your right knee if you needed to lift it to get that bind. And then engaging your abdominals, lengthening the tailbone almost into cat spine. Start to pull the right leg back any amount possible to get a stretch in the front of the hip and the thigh. And release that. Gently roll onto your back. Allow your legs to extend straight. Bringing one hand to your belly, one hand to your chest, or going back into that cactus position if that felt good on your shoulders. Give me one big inhale. And exhale. Let's inhale for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale for 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Once more on your own. And just return to your breath as you lie for Savasana. Gently wiggle your toes. Bend your knees, bringing the palm surface of your foot down towards the mat. Lie on your right side, bringing your right hand underneath your head for a pillow. And take a pause here. And when you're ready, press into the left hand, dig in with the right elbow. Come to a comfortable sitting position. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great weekend. I'm gonna unmute if anyone has any questions.